Hi, I'm Parker Marley,
I'm Tim Benjamin.
and this is the Rage Podcast, where today one of our co-founders of the Rage Podcast is preparing for a big adventure this week, right? Yeah,
That's right, this week.
This week, and it is Tim Benjamin who is going out and about.
That's right, I'm going to make the pilgrimage to Tennessee.
You make the pilgrimage to Tennessee not for valid reasons or any reasons of pride and hope, but rather for reasons to scream at radical leftists.
I didn't realize that till this moment, but there you go. So,
yeah, I didn't know what mission he was actually going on. Now, Tim, give some word here.
All right. Well, many of you may realize or may not that there's an organization called the Daily Wire, and they are organizing a rally down near Vanderbilt University to oppose child mutilations, which are incorrectly called gender affirmation surgeries, and they're trying to get those to no longer be performed on children. You know, children as young as adolescents and slightly older, and then some younger. And when I first saw this, I'm obviously interested in the topic because I think that mutilating children is bad. I mean, I apparently it's a controversial thing to say, but I'm not in favor of that. But I wanted to go to this one first of all because it was close, or at least relatively close. And I have a great desire to see one of these rallies up close. Because, you know, you read about them online, and I want to see what they're like. I want to know what the opposition is like. I want to know, you know, who's screaming at who's, you know, doing what. I'm just very curious to just see one of these up close in person. I don't want any filter. You know, like anything you watch online, including the Rage Podcast, has a filter in place. I don't want any filter. I want to go down and see what both sides are saying. I want to hear the speeches that are going to be made. I want to hear, you know, from the crowd. I want to hear what they're chanting, what they're cheering, what they're jeering. I want to hear all those things so that I can, when I see these on TV or hear about them online or reading about them in the news and whatever, I want to know what they're really like. Because a lot of times in debates like these, it's going to be shocking to everybody, one side can look at the other side and caricature them. And that happens on both sides, including whatever side you agree with and whatever side you're against. And so I want to see what it looks like without that filter, without bias, without somebody sugarcoating, without somebody embellishing, and to go down and look at it. And this gave me an opportunity to do that. Susan had an opportunity to have a couple days off. Our schedule here at Wayne Street happened to be a little bit light over those couple days, so we're just going to take off and go down there and just see it. That's what I'm going down for. I'm not going to lie. The idea of getting away for a few days does sound kind of nice. So there was definitely some motivation there. But I also, to me, this is a fact-finding mission. Okay. But I want to go down and see what this is like. Because obviously I agree with the rally in principle. I hope I go down and agree with it in practice. We'll see. But, you know, and I'm this curiosity. I'm clearly against cutting up kids based on their feelings, but I don't know how anybody can be in favor of that. I remember what I wanted to be when I was 7, and if I thank God my parents didn't encourage that, or else I'd have jumped off a building trying to fly by now. But the idea is since this is available, I want to go down and see it. And who knows if my experience down there is significant enough, we may come back next week and report on what I saw. But again, I just want to. I'm curious. I want to know if the demon spawn that the media tells me are going to be there on both sides. I want to know if they show up, and I want to know what they look like. So that's why I'm going down. This has been organized by the Daily Wire. The personality there is Matt Walsh, and he has done a lot of work on exposing a lot of these again gender affirmation clinics, which is the dumbest name ever. And just have a conversation about that and see. I just want to see. I guess I know I keep saying that. That's what I'm going down to see. I'm supporting of the cause, and I want to know what it's like.
When I was 5, right? When I was young, don't know if it was necessarily 5, but when I was younger, I always wanted to get my ears pierced. All right?
Really?
Really.
This is me being shocked.
This is Tim being shocked. Always wanted to get my ears pierced. Now, my mother, being a loving, caring parent that I'm very glad I have, says I'll put it in a nice way. There's no way you're going to get your ears pierced. And I agree. I agree with what she says, right? But here's the problem that we're facing.
I would just like to point out before he continues, look at both ears, turn both. Neither one of them are pierced.
Neither one of them are pierced.
All right.
Right?
Please continue.
So, clearly, a lot of kids say things like this. They see people with their ears pierced. They see people with tattoos and all these things. And most parents, at least, especially in the community I grew up in, says absolutely not.
They frown on that.
They frown upon that, right? Mm-hmm. Why? One, because the one logical reason they always say is, it was like, well, what are you going to do when you grow up and you have your tattoo and you're like, oh, I wish I didn't get this when I was, 11 years old or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. And good for parents for saying, as long as you're at this state in life of adolescence, of teenage years, and in my home, you're going to follow what I set in place, right? However, in the current state of many homes in America, that's no longer a thing. It is, I feel like I need to have my ears pierced. Now I'm going to get my ears pierced so I can self-affirm my feelings, right? Now.
And the world has to affirm that along with you.
Yeah, yes. And the world has to say, Parker Miley, you are the hottest thing with your ears pierced, right? So.
Thank God we don't have to say that. Yes. Yes.
So, anyways, right? This is a bizarre example, all right? But
actually, it's less bizarre than reality, but continue.
But go into what Tim's talking about with this gender manipulation type of things, all like that. That is far more serious than getting your ears pierced or getting a tattoo even, right? This is a surgery and an operation all based upon the feelings that young people
the medicines they're giving people, or medicines, I use that loosely. They're putting people in the states that are not reversible. Yeah.
So now I disagree. I think me and Tim are both of like mind around this entire situation. That is very harmful, not only for the kids that we are leaving astray, but for the years that are going to progress further and further. Yeah,
because those kids are going to have to live with this forever.
They're going to have to live for that. But what kind of medicine are we putting into these hormone blockers and all these things? Mm-hmm. I find it hard to find that is going to be good later on down the road.
Exactly. And the other piece of that is those people who are having this unfortunate experience, they're going to have medical bills for the rest of their lives. They're going to have continued appointments and continued checkups and those kind of things with some of these things that are being done. And that's a revenue source for hospitals. I'm not saying that's their only motivation, but let's not pretend like that's not being considered. And, I can't think of another... I'm just running through I can't think of another money-making entity out there. And again, I know that we don't look at hospitals that way, but let's be honest, they do make a lot of money. That would do something so irreversibly damaging to children, making money off of it, and we're all like, that's great. Yeah. I can't think of anything else. I think of, one analogy I heard is, well, we do let kids play football and they're bashing their heads together. That's probably not good. Okay, I'll give you that. But we also understand that we're trying to protect them. I mean, at least we're putting a helmet on the kid, and that kind of stuff. And I just feel like at the end of the day, they're making money off of people who are chasing a reality that's never going to be real, and they're selling false hope. I mean, there's no difference here than the snake oil they used to sell.
What I really want to know is why is it? This whole motivation behind this entire thing kind of comes from feelings, right? Mm-hmm. A young kid, I grew up with sisters, all right? And I grew up with several girl cousins, okay? Mm-hmm. You can bet when I was a kid, I was playing with Barbies, okay? Mm-hmm. It was all I had to play with, most likely, right? Mm-hmm. And so, playing with those girl toys and all these things, it wasn't like, I never had the experience saying, man, I really want to wear a dress or anything. But I played with girls' toys. Mm-hmm. I thought the Barbie dream house was the coolest thing in the world, right? But anyways.
I have to admit, my sister was into Care Bears. Mm-hmm. And I got to admit, I played with Care Bears too. And a lot of them died at the hands of G.I. Joe. But please continue.
But but anymore you see these kids and they're like, oh, well, this is, you're playing with toys, and then you have outside forces coming to these kids saying, oh, well, you might be having to have some big questions coming up, young man, because you're playing with a Barbie doll.
Questions that would never have been asked
never.
outside in the kid's mind. Yeah.
And so these feelings run through these kids, and now they have to act upon these feelings,
and
now
they're
have
confused.
To affirm these feelings. What I want to know is, why is it these feelings that we are supporting acting upon? Is this so the feeling of, I think I need to change my gender, or I think I need to change my sexual orientation, whatever it may be, all right, that we accept. But do you know how many people in this life are in a state of horrible depression and loneliness, and thoughts come across their mind daily, almost every hour for some people? I was reading a stat, for people that are in a state of depression, it is likely that several hours out of the day they think about taking their own life. They think about ending their lives. Yes. Yeah, we tell these people, don't act upon that feeling. That feeling you should not act upon, right?
Never act upon that feeling.
Never act upon that feeling. Yet still today, in media and everything that's going on, don't act upon that feeling, because that is a haze over your mind, and that is not where you should be in life. But ever this feeling of changing and manipulating one's body, that's fine.
Yeah.
I guess the line that we've drawn currently is, don't take your life.
Yeah.
But we've pushed that line so far. Honestly, this is the first I've thought of this. Well, who's to say that line's not going to move one step further? I think that's the only thing.
Well, we're back to the thing that people are always talking about. Oh gosh, it's another slippery slope. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, a lot of times those slippery slope arguments are correct.
Yeah.
I just, things that we would not have even thought about 10 years ago, now is becoming things we're fighting for and expecting insurance companies to pay for. And I'm just going, oh my heavens. That's shocking. I don't know what other word to use. And it's very frightening that we, in order to be accepted by society, I don't know if that's the right thing I mean to say, but in order to be in vogue, in order to be, in the in crowd or whatever, you got to affirm all these things. And if you don't think that's the case, then why are all the Hollywood people out there affirming all this stuff? They're the ones that are supposedly our trendsetters. Now, Parker and I would certainly take issue with that, but that's what society looks at. And they're all cool and they're all woke and all this stuff. And they're, again, I can't say this enough times, and Parker said this clearer than I can. They're advocating hurting kids in order to get this way based on things that they're feeling. And if you know anything about middle schoolers, as Parker already said, they're liable to feel all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And not all of it, or in fact, maybe not any of it, based reality.
So with some of the classes I'm taking, I'm a college student going to be an educator. So I'm learning a lot about the development of children from the time they are in kindergarten all the way up to when they are a senior in high school, and we classify them as functioning adults now, all right? But that's still not when development
when they're
ends,
25,
But anyways, within that development time, yeah, though, you know what? Kids actually, it's not bizarre for a kid to maybe have the question, actually. That's not bizarre. That's not bizarre. But what's crazy is how we are saying, oh yeah, that feeling is completely genuine and true, let's do it. Right? That's where the problem comes in. When, I mean, again, if a young man says, what's girls' life and all these things like that, young men have questions. Young ladies have questions, right? They, two different things.
Perfectly normal, perfectly valid.
That's all. That's all valid. That's what goes through a questioning mind. But that's not to say that this young man who has some questions automatically says, psh. But now it is, once we start asking these questions, there are people that are working out there to get this boy or girl to change their entire lives around.
And one of the things that we have forgotten, and I still remember my Psych 100 professor back when I was in college 25 years ago. I remember one thing that he said that has stuck with me always is behavior that gets rewarded gets repeated. So if you have a child that comes along with a perfectly normal question and you reward it, it's going to get repeated. That's why parents especially, but pastors and church workers and youth pastors and things all have to come along and say, well, that's probably not God's will for you, and that's probably outside of the bounds of the way God designed you. And then you get labeled a hate person and whatever. But I think more people need to hear that. All right, so I've asked the question, and the answer is no.
Yeah.
If you ever have a feeling that the answer is no to, then it's the world oppressing you rather than the world trying to edify you or to move you into a better place. And to me, that's simply living outside of any kind of boundaries, any kind of healthy idea of what you should be, could be, ought to be. And it's going to lead you to a place where, bad things are going to happen, because again, you're looking for behavior to get rewarded that should not be rewarded. I mean, even today, even by today's standards, there are certain behaviors out there that society looks at and says, no. But that list is getting shorter and shorter. And in some ways, maybe that's a good thing. But in other ways, that's a very damaging thing when the things we're affirming goes against our design. It goes against the way our maker made us. And that becomes a very dangerous, very, very slippery slope that has a very bad place at the end. And a lot of times, what the media, whom I convince is probably the biggest enemy in this, the media is trying to tell you is all these different things that are out there are trying to, either lead you astray or lead you to someplace better. But in order to get there, you have to fundamentally change something about the way you were designed. And if that's not a damaging message, then I don't know what is. And that's why I want to go to this rally. Because I want to go see people who I'm sure are going to be there who are not being affirmed by what this rally is supporting. I want to see how they're responding. I want to see how the supporters are responding. I want to see who's trying to do the end zone touchdown dance against who, because I don't want anybody doing that because nobody's winning in this. And I want to be able to see that firsthand without the filter because I don't trust what I'm seeing. Everybody's going to spin everything to have the conclusion that they decided before they looked at the evidence. And I want to go down there and probably do that myself, but to be able to see it for myself and make determinations about that. So one thing I want to say then about this is, as we're closing up here, is I talked to Parker late last week. I'm going to send him updates from down there while I'm there, and I'm going to be there this coming Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The rally itself is on Friday afternoon. I'm going to be sending him updates and pictures that he's going to post on our church Facebook page. So if you're interested in seeing what's going on down there and seeing how things look from the lens of the camera on my phone, you can do that by following Wayne Street on Facebook. We're going to put some updates and some different things there. Because, again, I want to go down and be your eyes and ears. Not everybody has time and opportunity to go down and do this and see something like this. So you come see it through my eyes, I guess. And I'll do the best I can to do updates. And Parker's going to be putting stuff up there just so that you can see what's happening and get an idea. And I'm going to do my best. It's impossible to do, but I'm going to do my best not to filter it through any filters that I have so that you can see. I hope to be able to show you the good, the bad, and certainly the ugly while I'm there. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. If the people who are there I agree with are acting like jerks, you're going to see that. And because I want all that stuff to come across. So again, it's just an opportunity for you to experience something that not many of us get a chance to experience. And if you would pray for some travel mercies and some hedge of protection, I certainly appreciate that. But the idea is there's a lot of things going on out there that I don't know that I trust, which is why I want to go see it myself. And that's what I'm going to do. So
and that's fair enough.
Yeah. So I appreciate your prayers. Looking forward to being down there in Nashville and spending a couple days and looking around and seeing what's going to happen and being a part of the conversation. Again, try to keep you updated on Facebook and appreciate all of you following. And if any of you have any questions or anything you'd like to say, certainly in the comments below, feel free to do that. Or you can contact us here at Wayne Street. We'll be happy to try to respond or help out in any way we can because these are important issues. These are the lives of young people and the next generation that we're talking about here and the kind of attitudes and beliefs and health that they're going to grow up with. And we want to be as forthcoming about that as possible. So that's our goal. We hope you'll join us with that. And we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
If I come back with some entertaining stories, we may do an episode on this again next week. So thanks for joining us. Thank you, Parker, for humoring me to let me kind of take over today and be a part of this. But just keep us in prayer. Keep all these children in prayers. Anybody who is could be or is currently affected by some of these bad teachings that are out there, pray for them. And just know that we're doing the best we can to point toward a kingdom that affirms people where they are. You don't need surgeries to be able to affirm who you are. And, painful surgeries that are going to lead to a lifetime of doctor's appointments and medications and supplements and all these different things. So, anyways, this is your chance. Hope you join us, and thanks for being a part of the conversation today.